Hello everyone, I hope everyone's doing well. This is Soulfay World, and today I just thought I'd do a video vlog and basically share a message in regards to one of the posts that I written a few weeks ago. I'm not really like a vloggy person generally, and sometimes if I type something down I just have that thought in my head in a moment, but I'm actually quite introverted and not really chatty, especially like in real life. I may come across as being quite sociable online, but I'm actually quite reserved, and people seem to enjoy listening to my vlogs, which I'm really thankful for and I really appreciate. It's just something that I don't do like a great deal of or feel that confident doing all the time, but when I do it, I do appreciate the feedback, and I do appreciate the fact that people are kind and encouraging and they take the time out to listen to my videos and for watching and for commenting nonetheless. So thank you for that. So anyway, basically I just want to share this, and that is people often focus on the wrong things in life, and we've all been guilty of that at some point, and sometimes we have lost our way. Like feeding our ego, we tend to want to be adored and admired or validated, and often people's perceptions of them and focusing on that seems to be more important rather than like our own soul correction, for example, and behaviour. It's the same with external looks and outer physical attributes and attraction than inner beauty and physical, mental, emotional and spiritual health. These things I do feel like are really important, but we do tend to talk about things which are good. Don't get me wrong, it's good to talk about body positivity, it's good to talk about being comfortable in one's skin, it's good to talk about being confident overall and sharing your thoughts and feelings and emotions. But I do tend to feel as if we as a society and as a nation, we do think about how we are perceived by other people. We think about how we're being perceived ourselves in terms of like our looks or what people think of us, but we rarely think about just our general behaviour and how we treat one another, especially in today's society where people are more solely focused on like self-love and, you know, doing right by themselves and having boundaries and self-respect, which is all good and you should have that. But equally, we should talk about more about respecting other people too, and doing right by other people, not just by ourselves. But we should have that balance, but we don't tend to have that kind of thing. So that's what I wanted to try and put across, if you know what I mean. And I think we've all been guilty of that. So I also just wanted to say that it's important that you have to live in your own body, and it's our physical vessel, and we live with ourselves as well. So sometimes it's important to ask ourselves, can we truly be confident and content in our own skin? And also on the soulful, like spiritual level, in terms of like our conscience, because I do feel like we have an inner battle with ourselves on a daily basis and with our own demons, and that could be from self-loathing due to our looks, but also can be due to one's thoughts, opinions and emotions. And one example for me in regards to like feeling low, and I think it affected a lot of people. I couldn't for a long time, just till like a couple of days ago really, I couldn't get my head around what I read when it came to like the Epstein files, and that played on my mind, and I went through like down a dark rabbit hole where I would analyse songs, like go back to listening to reversed lyrics on certain songs and look at the hidden meanings. I had to reprogram and train myself to enjoy certain foods again, like cream cheese and pizza, and I had to try not think about what happened, not because I want to be ignorant and not because I want to forget what happened, we should be angry and we should think about these things and things that go on in the world, but also it kept playing on my mind to a certain extent where I was getting really down and depressed, and my emotions were feeling quite dark, and that's because I felt really sad and sorry for all the horrific things that go on in this world, and then there are actual people that do these things and they feel no remorse whatsoever. And I honestly don't know how they can sleep at night or how they live with themselves, but they have to live with themselves. And I like to think that there is a God, or there is some sort of justice and sort of karma, and I hang on to that hope, because otherwise I'm just going to feel even more bitter. But anyway, also get back on topic, I just want people to remember that it's important to think about how you are on a daily basis, and you've got to remember that you live with yourself. And I know I say this often, but we are responsible for what we say, what we do, and how we treat other people. And I do find that when it comes to motivational videos, people talk about themselves and they talk about doing what's right for themselves, which is good, don't get me wrong, but people rarely talk about the equal importance of how they treat other people as well. And I think you've got to have the balance of both, of having good boundaries, self-respect, but also respect for other people. Not because it's earned, because I don't believe that respect is earned. I think it should be automatic. You should respect people unless they're not respectful to you, then that's different. Otherwise, you should just treat people respectfully regardless, whether you know them or not, whether you think they owe you respect or not, or you them. I think it's important just to have common decency, but there you go. And I just want people to remember that you have to live in your body and with yourself, and on the grand scheme of things, if you treat people badly, especially if they did nothing to you, then it just says more about you as a person than the person that you're hating on. But if someone treats you badly and you did nothing to them, then it's their problem, basically. But I think it's important to remember that we matter to the right people, regardless of our growth and development and true essence and character. And if you're true to yourself and you're true to other people, then that's the most important thing. People have often lost people, and people, due to how they took them for granted, or they were there for them where they were chasing validation from others, and people don't know what they got until it's gone, kind of thing. And I think we've all been guilty of that at some point. And people do tend to talk about these days how they want to be perceived and treated, but they don't think about how they genuinely and truly treat or mistreat other people, whether it's intentional or not. Or people rarely think about doing the right thing for the right reasons. They only do things because they want to be liked, or because they have an ulterior motive, which is still false, really. It's a false narrative, and there's no true authentic intentions behind it at all. And basically I was also mentioning about people have no self-respect for themselves or for others, and when they do that, then they kind of devalue their own self-worth. Oh, and last but not least, learning, evolving and growing and taking accountability is a good thing, and it shows strength and courage and true character, but people perceive it as being a weakness, when I believe that actually it takes immense strength to do that, and it makes you a stronger person. And also, people tend to take for granted their health, their physical or mental health, and they don't realise there's a problem until things escalate and become more problematic. Last but not least, people spend time wasting money and not enjoying the importance of time and seeing the value in that. Also, I just wanted to add that people spend their lives focusing on certain things, such as money and luxuries that often come and go, and they put a price on that. But when it comes to things that are sentimental, that is absolutely priceless. And that can be anything from like time to spending time with loved ones and embracing moments of happiness and joy and creating memories that you can never really recreate or buy or get back again. As for admiration, people that admire you for your act and not for your true self and character and flaws, but they admire you for reasons that aren't authentic or genuine, that is kind of false really. And whereas when there's imperfections and flaws and you being your true, authentic and natural self, you will be admired by the right people that would love and adore you for who you are as an individual, and you would be their muse and they would like you for the real you. And as for looks and physical attributes, whatever you change eternally, you have to remember that if you aren't happy internally up here and in here, then it's not going to make you happy. And more important is to accept all of you and be confident and focus on your health. And if you focus on your health, which is like one of the ultimate wealth, if you focus on that and you focus on like your passions in life and your hobbies and interests, and you just generally take care of yourself, then I think that's when you feel the most happiest and where you look the most beautiful, you're glowing, you're full of life, you're vibrant, and that is far more precious and beautiful than like touching up a picture or putting a filter on you or just dressing up things and pretending you're okay and happy and confident when you're not. So it's just something that I think we all need to remind ourselves from time to time, and also to focus on what really matters and what is truly important. Do what makes you happy as long as you harm none, of course. Like the Wicker read, harm none, do what you will. Remember who you are and what you're about, and try to be humble and grounded. It's so easy to get lost and caught up in the wrong things and influenced or distracted. And again, we've all been lost with that. Like, we've been distracted by politics, we've all been wild up and angry at the world. We've been angry and against one another when we should be angry at the system, not at other people in general. It's the system that's an issue, and you know, the people that are in charge, and we should really put our focus back to on what's really important and what really matters, if you know what I mean. And getting back to being the best versions of ourselves, we can only try to be the best versions of ourselves, and of course we're human beings, so I think sometimes we need to be more honest even to ourselves and self-reflect and think about how we conduct ourselves and treat others, how we respond to people, situations, places and things, how we feel, how we make others feel too, and validate them like we would want to be validated for the way we think and feel. And what I mean is, if you made people feel a certain way, or you made people think a certain way about you or about a situation, if you created something like doubt, for example, negativity, acknowledge that, just like you would want to be acknowledged, and you would want people to see things from your views and from your perspective and from how you're feeling. Think about, you know, your actions and reactions and how you treat people. So that's what I was trying to say basically, and I think it's important to try and go back to trying to be empathetic and see things from other people's viewpoints as well, because yes, we do tend to see things from our own perspective, and we live our life through our own intentions, reactions, responsibilities and perceptions, and we all experience things in a unique way, and we all have different upbringings, different experiences with people, different experiences with things generally, but we do tend to forget what it's like for other people too, and sometimes we need the equal balance of trying to see things from other people's point of views as well as just for ourselves, but we tend to just think about things from our own perspective. And it's the same with like arguments or debates as well, when it comes to even simple everyday things, talking about politics. You may not necessarily agree or understand other people's viewpoints, but empathy. It's important to be empathetic and try to see things from other people's point of view, even if you respectfully disagree. So I thought it was just a perspective to implement daily or to try and practice and do. And same goes for like ignoring things to suppression or living in denial. It doesn't heal or make anything go away. It just remains there. And we do tend to live in a world where people want to suppress things or ignore things that are going on and happening in the world, and then there's just like a build up and people don't realise the true extent of things until the matter at hand explodes. So I think it's important to talk about these things and also to focus on our feelings and our thoughts, even if it's just for like 5 minutes a day, and also to take care of ourselves, and maybe people will try to be more at peace with themselves and more peaceful towards other people as well. So that's basically it. I hope it made sense what I've written, and I just thought I'd share that. And I'm sorry that I haven't been like doing many vlogs. I just want to talk about things that are important and what matter, but also talk about things that are on my mind when I'm in that like mindset, when I'm in that frame of mind. And sometimes I feel really creative and I have things to talk about and discuss, and sometimes there's a lot of things I want to share, and sometimes I'm just a bit more quiet, and it's just things that I don't have in mind to share that particular moment, or there's things I just don't want to post, or I can't think of anything to post, and I just don't want to be one of those people that post things for the sake of it. I want to post things that I think are meaningful or matter or are interesting, and even if people don't find them interesting, I would want them to at least be interesting, if that makes sense. But anyway, I hope everyone's doing well. Sorry this video is quite long, and thank you for taking the time for watching, for listening and for commenting, and take care everyone, and all the best.